Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon who you are and where you're watching from. What are you going to do with the 95%? Now, we're going to talk about that here in just a couple of moments, but we're going to wait while Facebook lets everybody know that I'm here. Make sure when you come in that you weigh in down below and say hello, tell me where you're from, and I'll come back after the fact. And I'd love to address that. If you have additional questions, put them down below as well, and I'll come back and answer those when we are done. While we're waiting for everyone to roll in here, let me just cover a couple of things. First of all, if you're not yet following me on YouTube, then please do that. It's free, obviously, as you know, and there's over 200 hours of video resources there that teach you everything, share with you everything about how to grow your finances, how to have better relationships, how to have more mental toughness, emotional strength, how to have better health and fitness, how to live to be 100. That's one of the most popular videos that I have on YouTube right now. It's James Arthur Ray, so just follow me on YouTube if you're not yet doing that. Secondly, if this video is positive and powerful for you, then help me. Help me help you. Just hit that share button. It's really easy. Hit the share button and spread the wealth. We live in turbulent times, and people need things that inspire them. People need things that inform them. People need things that help them take their power back. False or true? So, now, let me ask you this question. You'll notice that the topic today is, what are you doing with the 95%? We're going to get into science here in just a moment. We're going to get into astronomy, but let me just ask you a couple of questions. Number one, do you ever find yourself knowing you need to do something and yet you still don't do it? You ever had that experience? It's frustrating, isn't it? Or do you ever find that you should stop doing something and yet you do it anyway? And you're like, oh my God, why am I doing that? It's frustrating, right? Well, this is not a new idea, because the Apostle Paul said all the way back, how many hundreds of years ago, the things I know I need to do, I don't do. And the things I know I should not do, I do. The Spirit, he said, the animating life principle, pulls against the flesh, and the flesh pulls against the Spirit. Pretty wise words, and now here we are in 2021, and the game continues. So let me ask you a question. Hey, Anand, make sure you weigh in down below when you come in. Let me ask you these questions once again, if you weren't here. Do you ever find yourself knowing you need to do something and you don't do it? Or do you ever find that you need to stop doing something and you do it anyway? And someone says to you, you should really stop that. And you go, I know. Then why don't you stop? I don't know. Your life would be so much better if you'd stop. I know, it would. So what are you doing? I don't know. And the fact is that they don't know. And maybe you don't know either, but you're going to know here in just a moment, because I'm going to share it with you. So now, let me give you one of the 7 hermetic laws of this universe. It's called the law of correspondence. The law of correspondence, maybe you've heard it stated this way. It says, as above, so below. Now, what that literally means is that all of this universe is repeating patterns. As above, so below. Fractal geometry tells us the same thing. Everything in life is repeating patterns. Everything in nature, everything in this universe is repeating patterns. There's no random. So basically, when you understand the law of correspondence, you realize if you want to learn how to do something, look at how to do something else, and it will tell you how to do everything. Did you follow me on that? If you want to know how to do something successfully, then look at how something else is done successfully, and it will tell you how everything is done successfully, because all of life is repeating patterns. As above, so below. As within, so without. Now, let's come back to the 95%, because let's go all the way up above to the Big Bang. Stick with me here. The Big Bang is the single most commonly accepted law and principle of the creation of this universe. Even by theologians, even by spiritual teachers, now are saying, okay, God created the universe, and God could have created with a big explosion. I mean, if you're God, you can do whatever you want to do because God can do whatever God wants to do. So there's no contradiction here. But what we know with the Hubble telescope is we can trace all the way back to about 14 billion. Some say 15 billion is debatable, but it was a long time ago. This singularity and this massive explosion where everything came out, and there's a lot of implications here I'm not going to get into today, but everything came out of this one singularity, one single source. Are you with me so far? Now, here's what's really interesting, and this is what we know, that within nanoseconds of that major explosion, hey Ronnie, within nanoseconds of that major massive explosion, 95% of what came out of that singularity instantaneously disappeared. But did it? No, not really. It appeared to disappear, but it didn't really disappear. It only appeared to disappear. You follow that? Because what we now know is that 95% of this universe, what appears to be empty space, is not empty space. It's pregnant with unlimited potential and possibility. It's pregnant with what is called now dark energy and dark matter. And that makes up 95% of this entire universe. So there's a couple of implications here. Now, why do we not see around us the dark energy and the dark matter? Because it's vibrating at such a high frequency that we don't have the sensory acuity, we don't have the ability to perceive it. Doesn't mean it's here, not here. You can't see love, but you can feel it. Are you with me on this? Now, I know this is a bit esoteric, but stick with me because it's very, very practical. We're going to bring it in for a landing here in just a second. 95% of this entire universe is dark energy or dark matter. What that means is that you live in a 5% universe. And you think you have it all figured out. You don't know squat. And that's a technical term. And guess what? Neither do I. 5%. You don't know diddly squat. Another technical term. 5%. 95% of what's here, you don't even have the sensory acuity to perceive it. And you go, okay, well, that's really interesting, James. What does that have to do with my life and business? Well, now let's come down to physiology. Physiology now tells us that your DNA is your genetic coding. Your DNA is your potential and possibility. Physiology tells us, the science of the body tells us that approximately 95% of your DNA is dormant. There's that number again. Wait a second. 95% of the entire universe I can't perceive because it's vibrating too quickly. And by the way, 95% of my DNA is dormant and science can't tell us what it's for. What the heck is it for? Let me ask you this question. What kind of creative source, call it God, call it universal intelligence, it doesn't matter what you call it. What kind of creative source would send you here with 100%? And Tommy LaRange, you need to focus on the most important things, man. I thank you for liking my shirt. Listen to the content. Now, what kind of creative source would send you here with 100% and only allow you to use 5%? What's going on? What's the other 95% for? Well, physiologists can't tell us. They don't know. They don't know. Now, I'm not done yet. What does modern psychology tell us? Modern psychology tells you that 95%, oh my God, there's that number again. Is this the law of correspondence, repeating patterns? I think it might be. Modern psychology tells us that 95% of what you do every single day is driven by your unconscious mind. 95%. What that means is you are operating on 5% of your genetic coding, your DNA. You're operating on 5% of your conscious awareness. You're operating in a 5% universe. Do you think there's a lot of potential and possibility that is far beyond your grasp? If you think there's not, you need to think again. There's so much more afforded to you as God's creation than you're even scratching the surface of. It's time to take your power back. What's the other 95% of your DNA for? I'm going to tell you. What's the other 95% of your consciousness that is totally unconscious for? I'm going to tell you. What's the other 95% of this universe for? I'm going to tell you. Stick with me. Why is it that you know you need to do certain things, Tommy Allen Rains, and you don't do them? Why is that? Why is it you know you need to stop doing things, Ronnie Lord, and you do them anyway? Why is that? Why is it? Well, here's the answer. Because you're totally unconscious. You're unconscious. You're running on unconscious autopilot. You're running on your programming. You're running on your conditioning. You're not doing what you want to do. You're doing what everyone else has programmed you to do. You're nothing more than a droid. You're nothing more than a program. You're nothing more than a mental construct. And here's the rub. You can't deal with anything that you're unconscious of because you're not conscious of it. You can't change things you're unconscious of because you're not conscious of it. Just suppose for a moment, now look, you go, well, my life is pretty successful. Okay, congratulations. It might well be. There's a lot of successful people operating on 5% in a 5% universe with 5% of their DNA. You know, they make a lot of money. They maybe have, some good vacations, and they do some things to contribute, and they're doing fairly well, and they're fairly happy. But just suppose for a moment, so if you're one of those people, congratulations, because most people aren't those people. Most people are not those people. Look at the statistics. 72% of the people surveyed are depressed and unhappy in their daily work. 16.4 million people in the U.S. alone are on depression medication. And I could go on. Every 20 minutes, someone commits suicide. Most people are not those people. If you're that person, congratulations. And if you're that person, then let me just say to you, you're doing all of that. You're making some pretty good money. You have a pretty decent business. You have a decent relationship and a nice family on 5%. 5%. How much more potential do you have? Just suppose for a moment that you were to get 1% more. 2, 3. Don't even think about 10% more. How much more could you accomplish? How much more happiness and fulfillment would you have? How much more money would you make? How much more relationship connectivity and joy would you experience? How much more fulfillment? If you just had 6% instead of 5. If you just had 7, 8% instead of 5. Well, you go, James, that'd be great, but how do I get there? Well, you get there by doing the work. Yeah, you'd have a lot more, Ed. You're right. You get there by doing the work. You get there by making the most important thing the most important thing. Most people don't make the most important thing the most important thing. Most people want to get a new strategy. Most people want to get a new skill. Most people want to get a new product. Most people want to get, this, that, or the other, a new house, a new car. Most people want to make more money. Well, guess what? All of those things are the effect. They're not the cause. The cause is the 5% that you're operating on. The cause and the answer is the 95%. Now look, if this makes sense to you, then let me help you. If you're ready to take your power back, then let me help you. You say, James, are you there? No, I'm not there. But let me tell you something. I'm way closer than I was 3 years ago, and I'm light years ahead of where I was 10 years ago. Why? Because I do the work every single day. I know what the work is, and I know how to do it, and I'm committed to doing it. How about you? Now look, if this is resonating with you, then we're of like mind and like heart. And let me help you. Every single one of us needs a coach. Every single one of us needs outside help. Every single one of us needs guidance and direction, because we can't take a far enough distance from our own nonsense to see our own nonsense. Let me help you. We have a coaching opportunity. My wife and I, Bersabeh and I, have a coaching opportunity that's our most affordable, it's most accessible, and it's highly effective. It's called Project Stay Home. And look, someone said to me recently, James, it's stupid cheap. And it is stupid cheap. It's less than $5 a week. We get together with people like Ronnie, who's here, every single week, Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via Zoom. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, Anand. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're really committed, then you can join us via Zoom at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you go, well, that's really weird hours for me. And we have people from all over the world. We have people that get up at dark 30 to be there. And we also have people from all over the world that just watch the replays, because if you miss the live session, you're not going to miss it, because we put it into a database bank. There's over 200 live coaching sessions there already on every single topic you can imagine, of how to take your power back and how to access the 95%. It's called Project Stay Home. We'd love to have you join our community. For $19.97 a month, you get 4 live coaching sessions with me and my wife, Bersabeh. And you get access to an amazing community of growth-minded individuals who are on the same journey as you are. And if that's of interest to you, then just click the link above my head. Just click the link above my head. It'll take you right to a landing page. You'll get all the details and a credit card and $19.97. It's less than a good dinner. It's less than, it's about a Netflix charge. It's so crazy accessible. We'll plug you in. You'll get instantaneous access to the online database. You'll get instantaneous access to our online community. And you can join us this Thursday night, live. Get all your questions answered, get all the tools, the techniques, the strategies, the psychology, the philosophy, everything you need to take your power back. Look, come join us. I'd love to help support you. I'd love to help hold you up. I'd love to help share with you my 4 decades of study, learning, and experience. Just click the link above my head and come join us. I'll see you on Thursday. If this video has been positive and powerful for you, then please help me help you, and you can help all the people that you love and care about by just hitting the share button. God bless you. Thanks for a couple of moments of your day, and I'll see you on Thursday night. Have a masterful day.